Ever found yourself in an uncomfortable situation while on vacation? You're not alone. As thrilling as it is to explore new territories and immerse ourselves in unfamiliar cultures, we've all had those moments that make our hearts skip a beat or two, the moments that make us feel like a fish out of water. Today we're going to take you on a journey through the top 5 most uncomfortable situations travelers often find themselves in. From the classic lost in translation moments, to the awkward cultural faux pas, the sinking feeling of having lost luggage, unexpected health issues that can throw a wrench into the best-laid plans, and even the ever-dreaded scams and frauds that prey on unsuspecting tourists. Each of these situations carries its own set of challenges. But fear not, for each challenge there's a solution. Stay tuned as we dive into these uncomfortable situations and how you can avoid them. At number 5, we have the classic lost in translation scenario. You know the one. You're in a bustling market, excitedly pointing at a local delicacy, and the vendor just gives you a blank stare. Language barriers can create some of the most awkward and, in retrospect, hilarious situations while traveling. Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're in a quaint little restaurant in Italy trying to order the house special, but instead of the delicious pasta dish you had in mind, you end up with a plate full of anchovies. Why? Because you confused 2 very similar-sounding Italian words. Or perhaps you're in Japan, and instead of asking where the restroom is, you inadvertently compliment the shopkeeper's eyebrows. Sure, these moments can be cringe-worthy in real time, but they often turn into the best stories to share when you return home. But the language barrier isn't just a source of amusement. It can also be a real challenge. It can make simple tasks like ordering food, asking for directions, or even trying to find a bathroom a Herculean endeavor. It's like playing a game of charades, but the stakes are much higher. So how can you navigate these tricky linguistic waters? First, learn a few basic phrases in the local language. Phrases like "where is the bathroom" or "how much does it cost" can be lifesavers. And don't forget to learn "I'm sorry I don't speak." It's a universal sign of respect to at least try to communicate in the local language. Second, embrace technology. There are countless translation apps available that can help you communicate effectively. Some even allow you to take a photo of a menu or sign and translate it instantly. It's like having a personal interpreter in your pocket. Lastly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's all part of the adventure. The locals will appreciate your efforts, and you might even share a laugh or two. So remember, a translation app can become your best friend when traveling abroad. Stay tuned for more uncomfortable situations that you might encounter on your travels. Moving on to number 4, we delve into the realm of cultural faux pas. This is where the phrase, "when in Rome, do as the Romans do," really comes into play. But what happens when we don't know what the Romans do? Cultural faux pas are a tricky territory. They are the invisible lines drawn by a society's norms and traditions. And stepping over these lines can be quite uncomfortable, if not downright embarrassing. Think about it. You're in Japan and you've just finished a delicious sushi meal. You show your appreciation by leaving a generous tip, only to receive a confused look from your server. Unbeknownst to you, tipping is not customary in Japan and can sometimes be considered offensive. Or imagine this, you're in India, and you casually point at something with your left hand. The reaction from the locals is a mixture of shock and disgust. Why? In this culture, the left hand is traditionally associated with unclean tasks, and using it in certain situations can be seen as disrespectful. These are just a few examples of how easy it is to offend locals without even realizing it due to cultural differences. And it's not just about knowing what not to do, it's also about understanding what you should do. In Thailand, for example, not returning a Y, the traditional Thai greeting of a slight bow with palms pressed together, can be seen as rude. So how do you navigate this cultural minefield? The answer is quite simple. Research. Before you travel, take some time to learn about the customs and traditions of the country you're visiting. This can be as simple as a quick Google search or as in-depth as reading a book about the culture. There are even apps available that can guide you through the basics of cultural etiquette in different countries. Remember, the goal isn't to become an expert in the culture, but rather to show respect for it. And who knows, you might even learn something new and interesting. Researching local customs before you travel can save you from a lot of embarrassment. Coming in at number 3 is the dreaded lost luggage scenario. Now, this is an all too common situation that many of us have unfortunately experienced. Picture this. You've just landed in a foreign country, excited to start your adventure, and as you stand at the carousel, everyone else grabs their bags and leaves, but your luggage is nowhere in sight. A sinking feeling of dread washes over you. This is the lost luggage scenario. Losing your luggage can be incredibly stressful, especially when you're far from home. All your carefully packed items, your favorite outfits, your travel essentials, all gone. It's a swift kick to the gut of your vacation excitement, throwing you into a whirlwind of inconvenience and uncertainty. Let's recount some stories. There was this traveler who ended up spending half of her vacation in Paris shopping for clothes because her luggage decided to take a detour to Tokyo. Or consider the adventure seeker who had to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in borrowed gear because his luggage was enjoying a holiday of its own somewhere else. But fret not, there are ways to minimize the chances of this happening. One tip is to always pack a change of clothes and your essentials in your carry-on. This way, if your luggage decides to go on an adventure of its own, you're not left high and dry. Another tip is to get a luggage tag with your contact details. This simple step can increase the chances of your lost luggage finding its way back to you. It's also a good idea to take a quick photo of your luggage before you check it in. If it gets lost, you'll have an exact visual reference to help the airline locate it. And finally, consider getting travel insurance that covers lost baggage. It might seem like an unnecessary expense, but if you're unlucky enough to lose your luggage, it can be a real lifesaver. So, while the lost luggage scenario is indeed a dreaded one, with a little preparation and foresight, you can navigate this uncomfortable situation with relative ease. Always remember to pack essentials in your carry-on just in case. At number 2, we have health issues, a major concern for many travelers. Imagine this, you've planned the perfect vacation. Your itinerary is set, and you're ready to explore a new destination. Then bam, you're hit with a bout of food poisoning or an unexpected allergy. Nothing quite ruins a vacation like falling ill, far away from the comfort of your home and your trusted healthcare providers. Let's take an adventure into some of the most common health concerns travelers face. Picture this. You're in a bustling street market sampling delicious local cuisine when suddenly your stomach revolts. Food and waterborne diseases like travelers' diarrhea are all too common. And then there's the risk of vector-borne diseases like malaria or dengue, particularly in tropical climates. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are ways to mitigate these risks and stay healthy while exploring the world. Hygiene is key. Always ensure that the food and water you consume are clean and safe. When in doubt, go for packaged or thoroughly cooked foods. If you're traveling to areas known for vector-borne diseases, remember to use insect repellents and wear protective clothing. Next, let's talk about vaccinations. They are your best defense against many potential health threats, so make sure you're up to date with routine vaccines and get any additional ones recommended for your destination. And let's not forget about travel insurance. It might seem like an unnecessary expense, but it can be a lifesaver if you end up needing medical care abroad. Lastly, it's wise to pack a basic first aid kit. Include items like band-aids, antiseptic wipes, tweezers, and over-the-counter medications for common ailments. Also, if you have any chronic conditions or take prescribed medications, don't forget to bring enough for the duration of your trip. Health issues can be a real dampener on your adventure, but with a little foresight and preparation, you can keep the focus on making unforgettable memories. It's always a good idea to have a basic first aid kit and necessary medications handy. And finally, the most uncomfortable situation of all, falling victim to scams and frauds. Imagine you're soaking in the culture, the sights, the sounds, when suddenly you realize you've been duped. It's not just about money, it's about the sinking feeling of violation and helplessness. It's the ticket scam at the local attractions, the taxi driver taking the longest route possible, the beggar syndicates, or even the friendly stranger offering to take your picture. It's a sad reality that these scams exist everywhere, preying on the unsuspecting visitor. But don't let this deter you from exploring the world. Instead, arm yourself with knowledge. Be aware of common scams in the areas you're visiting. Don't be too trusting and always question if something seems too good to be true. Remember, you have the power to protect yourself. Always stay vigilant and research common scams in the area you're visiting. So there you have it. The top 5 most uncomfortable situations you could find yourself in on vacation. We've navigated the labyrinth of language barriers, danced around the pitfalls of cultural faux pas, and felt the sting of lost luggage. We've addressed the discomfort of health issues when far from home, and finally, we've unmasked the menace of scams and frauds. Each of these situations is a potential hurdle on your journey, but remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So arm yourself with knowledge, pack your sense of humor, and keep your wits about you. Travel is an adventure filled with unexpected twists and turns, but with preparation you can turn those uncomfortable situations into stories to share. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And don't forget to comment down below with your own uncomfortable travel situations. Safe travels, everyone.